Hello. So, I'm gonna go through coroutines first. I've got this project that doesn't seem like it really needs coroutines, but there's a really good use for coroutines, and that's in the movement blending. So I have this coroutine called acceleration blending, and the purpose of this is so that it changes the current movement vector towards the target movement vector, and those are defined up here. So the underscore movement is basically exactly how the pawn should be moving at any given moment, and this is always, every time we update the animator, this is passed to the animation controller as the input. So then, because this is root motion, then we have the underscore target movement, and this is basically so if this is the current movement, this is the where we want to move. So you give this entire pawn input from the controller, and you basically say, I want to move like that, you know? And so the goal of this coroutine is to slowly move this movement towards the target movement over time, so you don't like get very like quick and snappy movement. So it's sort of more softer blending. So and here we are. Basically, whenever we call the run method from the controller, we give it the input, and the input basically becomes the new target movement. After we do that, we're going to check if the coroutine is running. If it's not running, then we start the coroutine. And what the coroutine does is, first it tells outside scope that it is in fact running, and then when it ends, it tells the outside scope that it's not running anymore. So basically what it's doing is every single frame, while your underscore movement is not equal to your target movement, it will just sort of move it towards there. But before it sets the underscore movement, it has some checks. So over here is just the math for getting how the new movement is going to change, because obviously I want it to take like many frames to get from underscore movement to the target movement, so it's smooth. So this is just the math for that. But over here, this is basically checking in case the current movement overshoots the target movement. If it does, then it just sets the target movement as the movement. So if it ever does this, that basically just means that the new movement that we calculated up here is in fact closer to the target movement than you currently are. So yeah, every frame we then update the animator, so we pass this new movement into the animator, and if we ever break out of this while loop, it must be because of this. And so after we break out of it, we update the animator one last time, and then we tell the outside scope that the coroutine is over. And what that does is I can change some values inside of the thing. So I could change the sprint blending time from like a third of a second to like 5 seconds, and you'll see that's gonna have a big impact. Actually, I think I have to do that. I think I have to do that here. Oh no, that's sprint blending, accel blending. Here we go. So that's 5 seconds. Now it's gonna take a long time to accelerate. And I'm using keyboard. You can imagine this would be a little bit different if I was on controller. So if I set this down to something like 0.001, it's going to be like instant. Oh, I think I have to restart. 0.001, run. And this is the exact thing I didn't want. How it's just very like choppy. I want the movement speed to sort of slow damp upwards. And I found a value of 0.4 works pretty well for that. So yeah, that's a coroutine, and I had some console logs, but I guess I got rid of them. Basically tells me, so like I start running, the coroutine started, and then I stop and it's done. Now let's say I'm walking in one direction for a long time. You think the coroutine is still going, but it's actually, probably stopped. It's just froze my new movement at what the target movement already was. So now if I slow down, then it starts and then it ends. So basically, whenever I change my movement input, the coroutine starts, and then it ends when the new movement is to the target movement. Yeah. And this camera controller is pretty cool, but it's got some problems because the player can outrun the camera. Especially when I zoom in like this. big problems. Anyways, so that's coroutines.